All right, here we are with one of my favorite colors since I was little. I know I'm strange. All the other little girls liked pink. I liked brown. Brown is a neutral color. Neutral colors are colors that don't jump out at you and they don't recede into the background. They're like Switzerland. They're neutral. They do not mess with anyone. As you can see, there are many different shades of brown. Brown has positive and negative associations and can be warm or cool, also like gray. So with some of the neutral colors like brown and gray, you can add a little bit of the warmer colors to them and cool colors, and you can kind of play around with that a little bit in your backgrounds. So brown is a color that we see all the time being used for things that want to be perceived as humble, down to earth, honest. You'll see it's almost always in any kind of organic packaging. I can always see if there's a store that I like from miles away. If I see lots of tan and brown, oh, there's the organic whatever store with the organic products. But you'll also notice it's used quite often with green as well. Environmental resources and products often use a combination of green and brown, as you see in this picture here. And brown is also a color like the other neutral colors. Again, brown, gray, black, and white, they all tend to go really well with all the other colors. So if you don't want to overwhelm someone with a really bright, crazy, here's kind of like a really bright pinkish red here, or overly saturated yellow, you can use brown and then little accents of other colors. Brown is also considered a very exotic color, and that probably has to do with the fact that you find it in a lot of tribal art. It's associated with tribal peoples and skin tones. This is actually a modern painting of a Spanish person coming to the New World and invading the natives who were already here. And brown has many positive associations with food. If you think about, well, some of my favorite things are coffee, tea. Here you have cinnamon and chocolate, espresso beans. So brown is a very inviting, warm color, or it can be warm. It could also be cool. Actually, you don't normally see these delectable items on a blue plate and a blue cup. So there's a bit of a contrast going on here because of the warm tones. You see a bit of orange in the brown here. So that's actually quite interesting contrast. Brown is a color to be wary of, however, in fashion. And this is actually a still from one of my animations called Larry and Roz, where it's about my grandparents' first date in 1943. And in this particular scene, I'm trying to convey a memory that's larger than life, hence the Technicolor green lawn and the red fingernails. And you notice my yellow and purple pansy combination here as well. But one way that you can make it seem like something is from another earlier era is if you have a man in a brown or tan suit. You do see in modern times men wearing brown or tan suits, but unfortunately it's not considered the best choice if you're trying to make a real splash. If you're a politician or you're making a presentation, whatever it is, I highly recommend leave the brown suit in the closet, gentlemen. Unless you'll notice it on a lot of older men, some younger men, and it actually comes off a bit charming on younger men wearing brown suits. It kind of has a classic, almost hipster look. But be careful because there actually have been surveys and studies done that people perceive a man in a brown suit as a little bit of a fuddy-duddy. And what that means for people who aren't familiar with what a fuddy-duddy is, it means someone who's not quite with it. They're not quite down with the times. They're just a little bit out of touch. So if that's not what you want to project, and I don't know who would want to project that, you're probably better off with a navy blue suit, gray suit, black suit, something more classic. Right? And this is another still from Larry and Roz from 2008, and this is the same character who is wearing the brown suit in 1943, only here he's a 93-year-old man in a nursing home. My late grandfather, whom I miss dearly, and I wanted to convey that his present reality was drab compared to his past. And so I went with lots of drab browns and tans. I just, I took a little pity on him and added a green comforter to his bed here. But basically just trying to convey a reality that's lacking in color, figuratively and literally. All right. And finally, brown is a very important color to have in your toolkit if you're doing any kind of damage control. This is a paparazzi photo of Paris Hilton right after she got out of jail in 2007, I believe. And you'll notice she's wearing tan. It's actually, I think, a $400 outfit or top that she has on, so much for being down to earth and humble. But the color certainly has the effect of making people, or at least she's attempting to get people to see her not as a party girl, because I believe she went to jail for drunk driving, and someone who's down to earth, reformed, someone who's learned their lesson, someone who is a good person, and she probably is a good person. Who am I to judge? Anyway, so for you, those of you going into public relations, brown and tan are very important colors to have in your toolkit. And you'll also notice that some politicians will be wearing tan or brown ties, particularly when they're having debates about trying to connect with the middle class or the working class. You'll see it all the time. And that's to get the audience to see them as down to earth, someone who can relate to a common person.